Hi ladies, it's Barbara, your menopause drama mama. Today's video is all about my journey from menopause from hell. Now it started about 45, 46 years old, and it was just night sweats and hot flashes during the day. And I didn't think anything of it because I thought, at night, I thought maybe I had a fever, wasn't feeling well or something, and I'd wake up and I'd be just soaked in my pajamas and my hair would be soaking wet. Well, I guess about the time when I was 50, that's when things started to change a bit. I went to the doctor for my yearly exam, and my blood work showed that my LDL was 200 and my total cholesterol was 250, and that put me in the extreme high level. Well, I'd never ever had bad cholesterol before, so the doctor thought perhaps it was just a bad blood test. And so he said, come back in 4 months and we're going to retest just to make sure. And I'm like, okay. So I did that. Well, right before I was supposed to go, like 2 days before my appointment, apparently he got in trouble with a nurse or some younger girl or whatever. And all of his patients were transferred to another doctor. Well, I went to that doctor and I explained to him what was going on. I started with all my symptoms that I was having. I starting with not sleeping, going to bed at 11 o'clock, waking up at 1 a.m., having bad, before having bad periods. And of course now they had stopped. So I was in my menopause stage. And then also I started going into the things like having ridges on my nails. Well, that's because you lose oil in your body after your estrogen starts to decline. I started having my gums recede and pockets around my teeth, which I had not had before. My hair was thinning. My eyebrows from about the halfway point here over was very thin. I had lost most of that hair. I had terrible anxiety every single day. I became depressed, and I had horrible muscle loss. And that's unfortunate because I was a really avid person who exercised all the time. I had done aerobics. I was doing weightlifting, everything for my legs, and nothing was working. I wasn't gaining any muscle, and I just kept losing it. So I ended up with, huge bat wings under my arms. I had noticed that every day I was just physically and mentally exhausted from not being able to sleep. I suffered from anxiety. I was having, getting bad body odor under my arms, which I had never had before, and I would have to put on deodorant like 3, 4 times a day. I was having panic attacks, which got so severe that I would start panicking if I realized I left the house and not had a bottle of water in my car. I was having the worst, every day, the worst heart palpitations where I was wondering, today the day I'm just going to die because of a heart attack? And so I started telling this new doctor about all of these symptoms and that I had done a lot of research. And I said that I wanted to go on HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. And he looked at me and he told me, why don't you go through this naturally? I got so irate that I actually told this guy to fuck off. And I'm sorry if it offends anybody, I truly am. But I was so mad at that point that I had just told this doctor about all of these horrible symptoms that I have been suffering from. And every day of my life, I was so depressed. I guess I didn't give a shit if I died or not from a heart attack because there was no way to go on living. Well, after having a huge outburst in his office and basically a tantrum, he gave me estradiol by a pill, in which I found out later that that was bad for my liver. And he gave me the medproxyprogesterone, which then I also found out later from doing research that that was connected to having breast cancer. So I called his office And I got his nursing assistant called me back, and I told her that I needed to be changed off this medication. I didn't want that. And she said no. The other thing that this doctor did was, because of my cholesterol being so high, he told me I had to go on a statin drug. Well, a year after, when I had to go back for my physical, I had dropped my cholesterol like 20 points. It wasn't not in the normal range yet, but I had dropped it 20 points. And I had changed my diet. I took sugar out and was exercising. So I was gaining a little bit of my life back. And some of it was because of the estrogen pill. Well, I had told him that I never took one of those statin drugs. I said every month when I refilled it, I dumped it right down the toilet. I said I wasn't going to take that, and I didn't want to take it because of the side effects. So anyway, I left that doctor and I found another one. I did originally go on the pellet, which is a bioidentical hormone, and the doctor places it in your butt. But that doctor, they had my medical information wrong and had said that I had still had a period, which I didn't. So I wasn't getting the correct dosage I needed, and the estrogen and the progesterone. So on my merry way, I found another doctor, and I did like this woman. You know, she understood exactly what I was saying. She was older. She agreed with everything because she was an HRT specialist, hormone replacement specialist. So she knew all the background on HRT. Well, she put me on a 1 milligram patch, and I also had micronized progesterone. About a month after taking it, though, I started having breakthrough bleeding. Well, then I had waited like 3 months because it said that that would be normal because of the new dosage. But it didn't go away, and so then I called the office, and then they put me on 200 milligrams of micronized progesterone. And then that didn't work either. It was still breakthrough bleeding. So then what happened was my husband's insurance changed right before I was supposed to go see her for my next physical. I had to find another doctor. Well, I looked up in the Aurora is where I had to go instead of through Freighter, where I was going with this doctor. So I saw that she dealt with menopausal women, so I went to her. And she started me on just the 0.5 milligram patch and the micronized progesterone. And that worked fine. You know, the 100 milligrams, it worked fine for me. But she told me that she didn't want me on it for more than a few years. Well, I told her that information is incorrect. I've done my research on it. So we kind of had a little issue fighting about it. Well, so right now I'm looking for another doctor. But for now I'm doing very well in the health spectrum, which is great. But during menopause, I want to tell you that my depression became so severe that I had to turn to something to get out of my head, and it ended up being painting. So these are two of my paintings that I did, and I didn't realize that I had a talent. So I guess something very good came out of this for me. So something bad, and I guess I was returned with something good. I used to draw when I was little, but I never painted in my life, and that's the outcome. So I'm blessed very much with that. I want to say though that there is 4 billion women in the world right now as of 2025, and 1.1 billion women are going through these symptoms. Now, they're not all going to be the same as mine, and not any one woman is exactly the same as another woman. What works for one person may not work for someone else, and you do have to go through, like, if there's medication or medical issues that you're having, but that's all to be taken care of with your doctor. And I would want you to look for a specialist in your menopausal years, because no one else is going to be able to stand up for you, for your health. And I am an advocate for women's health now. I may not be in the medical field, but I know what it goes through in menopause, and it was a horrible journey for me, and it was a very lonely journey for me. Nobody listened to me. Nobody cared what I had to say, and I went through it alone, and I was extremely depressed about that. And I don't want other women to go through what I went through. So I want you to know you can come to this channel and learn about this, and we can discuss it openly and freely about any questions you have. And I'm going to try and find doctors, around different states and post that for women's health that you can go to and discuss any of your problems. And that's, I think, the best lead that you can take is be upfront with a doctor about your health and stand up for yourself, because nobody else will, ladies. You are your own advocate in this journey. And I want you to be happy and healthy for the rest of your life, because we live almost a third to a quarter of our lives in this menopause time. So with that being said, I want to thank you ladies for listening to me on my menopause story. And I want you to click like and subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more things about menopause and more information from bona fide and verified doctors who do just menopause for women. Well, I love you. Have a wonderful evening or day wherever you may be in the world, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.